Thank you everyone so much for being here. I am Kim Carney. I am one of the assistive technology consultants here at CASE, and I have a couple team members here with me today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Nikki Norman.
I'm Sherry Mashin-Sueda.
And we are just so grateful for you being here today. A couple of just housekeeping things. Breakfast, coffee, water. Please help yourselves. Bathrooms. Down this hallway, past like the glass room here, and to your left. That's where you'll find the washrooms. October is AAC Awareness Month. And here at CASE, we usually do like a little something. We send out some information or we host a little event. And you know, lots of organizations do a lot of different things. They try to create community, do some learning. And today we thought we wanted to do a little bit of that. Bring together therapists, teachers, families, students, community members to be here and to learn from somebody who has lived experience and whose experience is more valuable than anything that we could ever share. So thank you all for being here, and thank you to Jack for being here. So we have some special guests. The first guest we have is Jenny. Jenny is a PRC-Saltillo consultant. I feel like most of you in this room have met Jenny. She is one of our local resources and is an SLP by trade. So we often work with PRC-Saltillo, and a lot of your children and students use PRC-Saltillo devices. And she is one of our go-tos for sure. Our next special guest is Jack McGraw. And Jack lives in the western suburbs in St. Charles. And he is a recent college graduate. Is this accurate? Yeah. And he's gonna dive in and tell us his whole story, so I won't say too much. But Jack, we are just so grateful for you being here today and taking the time. Jack's mother, Jill, has also joined us today. Thank you, Jill, for being here as well.
To be fading in this.
We appreciate you being here as well. So Jack is going to share a little bit about his journey and his story with AAC. Then, thank you to those of you who have submitted questions. I gave Jack those questions last week, and he's prepared some answers. So I'm going to read the questions. Jack's going to answer. And then we have time for some more questions. You can ask questions to the CASE AT team, to Jenny, or to Jack. And we will have time for just more open discussion. So go ahead, Jack, take it away.
Hi everyone, I am Jack.
Hello,
Jack.
So Jack, the first question was, what are some of the things that you need to consider when you're talking with a communication partner that's not familiar with AAC?
I have to consider that a person who is not familiar with AAC does not necessarily know that they should be patient in waiting for me to respond. They probably have no idea how I communicate. So, I should explain to them that it takes me some time to respond so they don't expect me to respond instantly.
I noticed that you've got a sign on your mount as well, a little note that says, "I'm Jack, I use this device to talk, please be patient while I type." I think we've got a lot of different communication styles, and so a visual is a really nice reminder.
That was the idea of an OT that he had. I had the idea that to do that. So.
That's really helpful. Yeah. Question 2. I saw that you've been using AAC since you were 8 and eye gaze technology since you were 13. What kind of communication methods or devices did you trial before finding the right fit? Do you have any advice on how to support my students beginning their AAC journey? Thank you.
Before eye gaze technology, I used my communication devices by pressing 2 switches with my head. This was very tiring and gave me a lot of headaches. Some advice I have for you that might help your students is to guide your students to find the best and most efficient communication methods and devices for them. Eye gaze technology has made me much more independent than when I used switches. Now with eye gaze technology, I am a substance abuse counseling intern who is completing my internship tasks totally by myself on my device.
That's awesome. Number 3. What did you find most successful on your AAC journey as a child to help you to learn to use your device?
As a child, I think just my intense drive to be able to communicate as efficiently as I can was the most successful factor that helped me learn my device.
And what do you wish your peers and friends knew about you using AAC?
I wish my peers and friends knew how much effort and time I have to put in to use AAC to communicate day in and day out. The most challenging thing about using AAC in college is me being able to respond to my professors and classmates as quickly as possible.
Are you saying sorry because you jumped ahead with another answer? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, you answered another question there.
Yeah, so the question was, what do you find most challenging about using AAC in college?
The most challenging thing about using AAC in college is me being able to respond to my professors and classmates as quickly as possible. Even though IGAZE has made me into a considerably fast communicator, I have a tendency to talk in thorough and complete sentences which take longer to type than simple phrases.
Yeah, thorough. Yeah, sounds right. Aside from communication, how do you use your device throughout the day? Like for work, your environment, school, leisure?
I use my device for all types of things. I check my email, journal, look at social media, call and text people, do school work, internship work, watch videos, and much more on my device.
After our questions, would you be willing to show us some of the things that you do on your device with some of that? Thank you. The last question that I have here is, do you have an AAC community? If so, how is that community established? And what are some of the things that you and your community do together?
I think the PRC-Saltillo AAC Ambassador Network that I am a part of is an AAC community. I am not sure how it was established.
Yeah, so I don't actually know how it was established. I do think it was the brainchild of Jane Odom, who was the person who ran the AAC Language Lab, and she made it a big part of sorry, she passed away a couple of years ago. A big part of her work to help create communities for people who used AAC. And it has been taken over by somebody who has a pretty similar passion, who's been trying to build it as a stronger community for our folks. So,
We speak out about the importance of AAC at meetings and events like this one and advocate for other AAC users.
When did you start your work as an AAC ambassador?
This March.
Awesome. I have another question. question about school. Did you have any peers at school that were using eye gaze?
No.
Not a one. Wow. Did that come with a lot of, on your part, do you feel like you have to provide a lot of education to people and your peers on what it is you're doing and how you're communicating?
Yes, but all of my friends have been very understanding and patient.
You fly on this thing. Yeah. That is awesome. I know Rebecca, one of our SLPs, had a couple of questions.
I do. From our AT consultant to PRC and our district and our training, we are told to model, use the device to help a student learn how to use it. I'm curious as to how you think about having someone else show and model on your device. If you like it, if it frustrates you, also like with wait time too, how long to wait, or is it okay to model on someone else's
I think it is okay to model, especially for kids who learn best by watching other people.
I have one more question, is that okay? In my experience, what I see in a classroom, sometimes a student says something using their AAC device, and the student-to-student social conversation is very hard sometimes. And I find that the student responds more to an adult repeating what was said
I think it would be best for the adult to tell the non-AAC user that the AAC device is the other kid's voice and then let the AAC user repeat.
Jeff, do you care, can I make a comment? It's okay if you say no. I found when he was younger, kids they moved on. They didn't, so I think an adult, it was necessary. I think when, I wasn't with them at school, but it was necessary for an adult to kind of, just because the kids just move so fast, and they'd be like, hey Jack, and then they run off, to the other corner of the playground or whatever. But as his friends have gotten more mature, and he's gotten older, his peers have a lot more patience for it. They understand, better, but I know he used to get really frustrated when he'd be typing something and the conversation had moved on. And he's like, wait, but 3 minutes ago, somebody said this. So I know that was frustrating, right, at the time, but I think as your friends have gotten more mature, it's naturally they've gotten to where now they get it, kind of. But when they're young, they just, they move too fast. Their brains move too fast.
Thank you. I just have a comment too, Jack. Nikki and I were just talking about, if anyone in this room has never actually tried using eye gaze, I have tried it, and it is remarkable to me how quick you are at using your eyes to select what you need, because it is not a skill that most people have, right? You have to kind of work at it and build it up, but I just am amazed at that skill. And then also that you can hold on to your thought, right? You're constructing a sentence, so you're holding on to all of the things. Okay, I'm here, I'm moving on. This is what I want to say. Those are really difficult skills, and they're skills that most of us in this room don't practice regularly and don't have. So I just wanted to point that out, how that is just really an amazing skill. So I recognize that.
I think it would be best for the adult to tell the non-AAC user that the AAC device is the other kid's voice and then let the AAC user repeat thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Jack. Have you used LLMs or AI chatbots? And if you have, do you have any thoughts about whether they are useful or not useful for the future of AAC?
What's an LLM?
Like ChatGPT, for
It's
example.
like language learning.
Large language models or ChatGPT.
Jeff is our technology coordinator
Sorry.
here.
No.
Maybe the two of you need to get together so Jack can learn something new from Jeff.
He's all about doing things the hard way. Even some of his professors, like in college, were like, Jack, you don't need to write me a novel. I need 1 page. He's like, we all know. I think that started when he was younger. He's trying to prove to the world that he can do beyond just saying, yeah, okay, yes, that would be, he had to it's like everybody knows you can put together a sentence. Make it easy on yourself. You said I could talk.
Other questions?
So a lot of times, like Kim, Sherry, and I will go out, we're talking with SLPs, and we talk about kind of that descriptive teaching, adding on vocabulary to devices that are important and part of that student's world and language, but don't add a ton of stuff that's not going to be relevant to them to use all the time. As you went through college, did you find you added vocabulary to your device just to be more efficient at communicating on certain topics? Or I know I used a keyboard a lot, so I was just curious how you kind of went with that.
Yes, I have programmed some phrases that I frequently use, especially in discussions.
Thank you. And then I have one more question, and this is like, do you have any swear words on your device?
I second it.
He
says them.
No.
I have a question. If your device isn't working, how are you communicating?
By mouth, but I need one of my family members to translate.
I actually have one more question, but it's for Mom. I think your name's Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah? As you started your AAC journey, what really helped you understand how to communicate with the AAC device outside of like a school setting or a clinical setting?
Yeah, just the school, like the speech therapist, and then it wasn't Jenny at that time, but the what do you call them, the
Consultant?
yeah,
Danielle.
yes, and within the school district, the assistive technology people just were like amazing at communicating, and I too, I mean, as far as learning like the device, especially when he was younger, I just kind of fiddled with it and to try to figure it out and stuff, but yeah, my biggest challenge when I'm with him, if he's using that, is not to jump in and try to make it go faster or try to say what I think he's thinking, which is wrong. But yeah, I've gotten better at just being like, well, especially in a room like this, everybody, you understand that this is, that's the way communicate, but I've gotten better at just leaving it alone. When he's like, if he's doing like a FaceTime or a Zoom call or something with a friend, just like, leave him alone, he's in another room, and but it just really the school personnel were, and yeah, the consultant, they were the best at like letting me know, communicating, and giving us the information we needed to learn it, to figure it out.
Did it take you a while?
Honestly, he caught on so quickly that I didn't really need to do much. I remember the first time they tried eye gaze with him, they had set it up like this, like where it was like mirrored, and he was in middle school, and as the person that used to be Jill Jenny, or that Jenny is now.
Danielle.
Yes, it was Danielle. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
As she was like telling the room, she's like, no, it's gonna take him a while before he, and it was like, oh, never mind. It was like instantly, he's like typing words, and she's saying now, she's like, well, first of all, we're gonna, and it's like, oh, because they were just trying it to see if it would even work. It's like, yeah, I think it's gonna work. Because at first they tried like a sticker, and that didn't work. That didn't really work for him. Like there was a little sticker. I hated that. And then once they did eye gaze, it was like, okay, this is the solution. Like, yeah, the switches didn't. I mean, they worked. It was effective, but it was, you know, once he got eye gaze, it was like so much easier and better. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. To follow up on that question, you found a community of parents to learn and use the AAC, especially in the home and all of the other social media, emailing kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know, I do have a lot of friends who have children with special needs, but I don't know anybody that has anybody like him. I have a number of friends that have children with Down syndrome and autism that they met like through school when they were in school, and but I don't have any parents that I know that have a child that's kind of more like him, where he's more the physical disability, and but yeah.
Often to that. Often to that.
And I have a question for you, Jack. So I'm a speech therapist. I work at high school. I work with Nikita. He's just entering high school this year. He uses
This is
an
Nikita.
right over here. This is Nikita. He uses an IGA system as part of his total communication system. I'm wondering if you have any advice for him entering high school, or for him or his parents about what to expect.
Let you think? High school was a few years ago, right? You're old now. He's 25, so.
One.
My experience in high school was that IGAs really let me get involved at school and clubs, helping out with the basketball and volleyball teams because I was able to communicate so efficiently. So Nikita, I would say to get used to using your device because it can unlock a world of opportunities.
It is 9:54. I have a question for you. Being up here, you have answered a ton of questions. How are you feeling now? Do you get fatigued still? You're such a pro at this. You've been up here for an hour answering questions.
Yes, but I am resilient.
I don't doubt it.
I think, Jack, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think trying to talk verbally, orally, wears you out more. Do you think that's true? Like when you try to talk a lot, when you don't have that up and running? Sometimes, maybe, yeah. Like in the car, when, we don't have that up and running. He's trying to talk and it's like, it seems like that is more difficult in some ways.
On this keyboard page, what is STNDRD?
Oh,
I've been trying to figure that
Word
out.
endings, like
Just
first,
word endings.
second, third, fourth, it'll put that on the end of whatever word.
I was trying to figure out what it is. Not seeing the keyboard or the message bar. I was thinking.
Totally.
I could see what your mom meant by like, you could answer questions quicker, right? If you just give one or two words, but you, because of your personality, want to make sure that you are, accurate and that what you're expressing, is very thorough. Yeah.
And you're very well spoken.
Very well spoken.
Any final thoughts or questions? Yeah, Natalie.
More for Jenny, but also Jack. What's kind of been the evolution of the device itself? Like I'm thinking in the past, was it a lot bigger? And to Mom's point, like is there something moving forward that we may see something more compact that can be more versatile using it in a different space?
Sure, so, I can speak just to, to the technology. I don't remember, Jack, did you start with IVs on the no, it wasn't the 1400, it would have been a 1200. So, just thinking about how time works, because this 14-inch came out in 2015. So, it would have been, Windows-based for eye gaze. Windows-based devices are still the best option for eye gaze because of what Windows lets third-party developers do in terms of taking over control. So we just have more control with that. Jack's been able to be in the same toolbox. So if you see the controls have been the same for him since that first eye gaze device. Yeah, this toolbox. And so there are a lot of decisions that the manufacturers make about what our toolboxes look like. This is the one I learned on as a grad student in 2000. And it's the same because of people like Jack and our guy Brad who have been using the same system for a really long time, and so we continue to develop and support that system. So that toolbox is going to be available for as long as somebody needs it, but then the computer technology is what's getting better, and so the device that he has right now has twice as much processing power as the last generation, but they look the same and they have a lot of the same specs, so that if somebody moves from one to the other, that they get consistency rather than making everything like super sparkly and different and new, because that doesn't really support our users. So there is a smaller version of this. You guys tried it.
Yeah.
But like, not smaller isn't always better. It's more portable, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I say it's easier to carry around, but he doesn't have as many options, so he can't do what he needs to do as quickly. We tried the iPad too.
Yeah.
But that was
not
pretty
as
difficult for
stable.
him to
Yeah.
do. Cause it was like, that'd be awesome, we could just like instead of taking this big, but.
Jack, do you want me to get you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can show
I
him.
can help with that.
Are you gonna go on Instagram or something?
Since Jack is on a Windows computer, the background is a Windows desktop. It can like
Jack, I'm gonna take control of your computer for just a second, just to put in the password. Is that okay?
handle this mouse. So for parents and people who are doing programming, know that sometimes plugging a mouse and a keyboard, if you're gonna do some programming, and it's gonna be faster for you. But if you do, you know, Jack paused his eyes because his eyes are essentially his mouse control on the screen. So he paused that so that he is not fighting for control.
Okay, you're connected.
And then there's a pause, resume, drop down. So he's, you know, Jack can do whatever he wants, obviously.
He recently got a new phone that, because he had an iPhone which doesn't really allow him to text independently, so we got him he got a Samsung phone so that he can text independently. So he'll be like in one room doing schoolwork, or I think he's doing schoolwork. And I'll get a text message, what's for dinner? And then I don't take the time to type. I'm just like, I'm working on it.
And so I know I'm talking while he's doing, what you are seeing is him being in control. The toolbox that he has allows his eye gaze control to transfer straight over to the desktop. So, you know, one modification has to be made to allow for single click rather than double click, but he's got full control of his system. Yes, thank you.
Nice.
I was thinking about that. The website, if anyone's eyes got old like mine, is AAC Language Lab. Oh, I can spell. There. And this is where you can find ambassadors like Jack. And it's Kevin. So one of the ambassadors is like co-leader of ambassadors of the program with one of our internal employees. So there's Jack's info.
Self-promotion.
Nothing wrong with that.
You can
They all understood that.
You can send messages to the ambassadors here. And, you know, we do want to increase opportunities for people and visibility for folks. So I'd love to add more ambassadors. It just took me a long time to be like, hey, Joe. I mean, we had been talking about it for a couple of years, right? And then finally, I was like, oh, so sorry, here's the paperwork. So there's a little application process. There's some paperwork to fill out, like a little about you, and then some communication, interaction preferences, and then a chat with with Kirk, who runs our ambassador program, to kind of help just figure out, like for Jack, you know, what kind of events would he be interested in, or what kind of participation in the program is he interested in, and you know, to just kind of figure out what the ambassador's work is going to look like.
You have a question? For? You're typing it, I assume? Yeah.
how old do you have to be an ambassador?
It's a good question. There isn't actually a lower age limit. The program is open to people of all ability levels. So, I know.
Doing recruitment for you.
I got you.
I would love for there to be a better community for our folks, because there are a lot of people who use AAC, a lot of kids and young adults and families, and so Jack was, for me as a consultant, just the first person that was obvious to get that started in our area. And I'm really grateful to Case for making this event happen.
So I was just thinking of a comment that I want to make to everybody here, and mostly to you, Jack. I think I speak for our AT team when I say we hope we can continue our relationship with you. You're local and you're close. I think
You love talking to people? Is that what you want to say?
I think this is great. I think we have a community of people here who probably need more of this. And I know the team has some ideas for how virtually we might be able to connect you with some of our students out there who couldn't all be here today, but I see this as just kind of the beginning for Case and for you, Jack. So hopefully you'll, be willing to kind of keep this going.
Yeah, you're willing to do in person and or whatever.
Yeah,
As long as you secure a driver.
I think those are just easy details to figure out.
Do you love working with kids in particular?
Good. Okay. Yeah, awesome. Well, we have many of them. These are examples of parents and teachers and speech paths here, so just keep moving forward.
Are there any final questions for Jack today? Thank you so much for your time. We're really appreciative of you.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, really, anytime.